Welcome to Pastor's Chat today. Well, we're going to finish Psalm 67, this wonderful praise psalm that reminds us when we trust and obey, we can be happy in Jesus because there's no other way. I couldn't help but think of that old invitation hymn that I'd heard as a child growing up. Trust and obey. Trust and obey, for there's no other way to be happy in Jesus but to trust and obey. And that's what the principle of this psalm is all about. When God's people trust Him and obey Him, He definitely will bring blessings upon them. Now we see this especially with the nation of Israel. Remember this psalm, God be merciful to us and bless us and cause His face to shine upon us. So why does God shine His face upon His people, especially the nation of Israel? And that is that He might be made famous, that He might be made known among all the nations of the earth. And that's what He says in verse 2, that your way may be known on earth. Your salvation among all people. Salvation, that means to be delivered. Be delivered from our sin. Be delivered from our guilt. Be delivered from the penalty of that sin, which is death. Salvation. Salvation is of the Jews. Salvation is of the Lord. Jesus spoke about in John chapter 4 to the woman at the well. Why? Because it's through the Jewish nation that we've been given the Word of God. We've been given the Messiah, Jesus Christ. We've been given the promises and the wonderful witness and testimony that when God's people obey Him and trust Him, He brings blessings upon them. Now, God wanted that to be outward blessings because, as you notice, when He says, let all the peoples praise you, He says it 4 times, let all the peoples praise you, let the nations sing and shout for joy. Why? Because through the nation of Israel, through the people of God, He wants the world to know who He is. And so finally in verses 6 and 7, the last 2 verses, then, okay, after the people bless the Lord, the God's been merciful to him, and the nations are rejoicing and glad, He says, then the earth shall yield her increase. God, our own God, shall bless us. God shall bless us, and all the ends of the earth shall fear Him. They shall be in awe of Him. They shall know that He's a God when you put Him first in your life. You seek Him, you trust Him, you live by His ordinances, His laws, in obedience to what He teaches us to do. You will enjoy His blessings. And also, if you do not, according to what we read in the Old Testament with the nation of Israel, if you do not keep His commandments, God's promised the nation of Israel the curses of the nations that were around them would come upon them, and they would not enjoy His blessings. Well, my friend, these are great verses, and they remind us of Leviticus chapter 26, where God told His people specifically, and matter of fact, this verse here, the earth shall yield her increase, is a quotation from Leviticus chapter 26, verse 4. If you walk in my statutes, keep my commandments, and perform them, then I will give you rain in its season. The land shall yield its increase, and the trees of the field shall yield their fruit. And so that's the blessings. It's reiterated in Deuteronomy chapter 28 as God tells His people there the very same thing. If you obey me, I'll bless you. You disobey me, and I'm going to have to chasten you and punish you. Now, you find this great story. God gives the increase. The harvest is ready. I'm telling you, for the church, for the believers today, when we obey the Lord and keep His commandments, it might mean persecution. It might mean tribulation. It might mean trials and troubles and suffering. But my friend, the great increase, the great produce is the peace of God that passes all understanding. And God promises no matter what comes our way in the trials of life, He'll never leave us nor forsake us. Oh, today the blessing is not just having, outward material things, but the blessing is the presence, the glory of the Lord in our hearts and in our lives. and shine out to the world around us. Well, God, help us to let our light so shine that others may see our good works and glorify our Father which is in heaven. God bless you, and you have a wonderful, wonderful day.